Not now. All right.
Oh, because I think it's
Camera one, camera two. All right. We are live in both places. Good deal. All right. It's coming at you live with a special report from Jared J. Rod Svarlson here. News that nobody else is reporting on. You're going to get right here. All right. So why'd you move away? I like having a live studio audience.
nobody can hear me munching.
So nobody's gonna be able to hear you munching on this mic. It's fine.
On the phone, they will.
This is a fun little report. We don't have to be that professional. This is not this the studio is an open studio. Okay, we allow people to eat in our studio. the studio audience. All right, so here to report on the drones because there is something that nobody else is talking about. Something that you're going to hear only here, and right now apparently just live on this one. So something a lot of people haven't noticed is this thing where, okay, there's two news events I'm going to talk to you about. One is the Cybertruck dude, and the other is a disappearance in Las Vegas that nobody's talking about, and they're both related to UAPs and drones.
In Las Vegas.
And they're both in Las Vegas. That's right. Good point. Thank you for that. See, I need my my live studio audience here to help out. So, how can I tell how many people are watching, etc.? I can't. I don't know what I'm looking at here. Looks like
I'll be able to. TikTok lives have very few viewerships unless
okay,
we're doing
yeah,
something extremely lewd.
it's right now. Okay, all right. Well, then we're just doing a recording. Then it's fine. Yep, got it. All right, so let's talk about this because have I talked to you about this very much yet? Have I told you a little bit? Okay, I told you a little bit. All right, so she knows everything. Stephen Greer, both loved and hated in the UFO community, the most divisive character in the UAP UFO community, actually, which is kind of weird by itself. A lot of people think he is he's a government plant. Others think he's just a dupe who's being used by the government as a disinformation source. A lot of people think he's, really genuine, and he is like telling the truth as he knows it anyway. And he does believe that he has. Okay, yeah, point the mic at me. That's good. Thank you. He does believe that he has good info. Okay, now I believe in his sincerity, regardless of if he's being used or if he's being fed misinfo. I really believe in his sincerity in that he believes what he's talking about. Whenever you watch Greer, I don't know, you have to watch a few interviews with him. There's certain times when, a person accidentally gets emotional and you can just barely pick up on like the, what's underneath their eye. And like they you can tell they really don't mean to let that emotion slip. And so I personally believe Greer is not purposefully misleading people. I mean, yeah, sure, he wants that money, and so does everybody else. So shut the fuck up about that. I mean, yeah, he does, and so do you. So get over it. But the thing is, I think he's also genuine, and so one of the things that he's been talking about is that, and this was, I remember back, like 2 months before the end of last year, even him talking about that he's got this group of Green Berets. Specifically, he talked about there were Green Berets that are stuck on the other side. They had, they were just doing what they feel is right in, serving their country. And then what ends up happening is that they slowly end up working for these like illegal, operations that are working kind of behind the scenes in these various crash retrieval programs. And so, I guess because there's kind of this overlap between the black budget projects and the corporate America being able to use the government for their own profit, et cetera. And so they end up on the other side of something they don't want to be on the other side of, so they're kind of stuck. And that's what this is a story he tells, and it makes perfect sense. And he says that these Green Berets are going to be coming forward in January. And this was, I remember specifically seeing, and you can go out there and look for it. You just like search Stephen Greer Green Berets, you'll find podcasts and stuff with him talking about it. And then the thing that nobody has talked about that is weird as fuck that nobody has talked about this. Excuse my F-bombs here, but the is the fact that the guy, like, what's his name? Livelsberger? I'm gonna have to look him up here real quick. The guy who blew himself up, right? Matthew Livelsberger, guy who blew up the Cybertruck and theoretically blew himself up. He left this whole like note, and the authorities have verified that this note. I'm getting this off of Newsweek right here. Have verified that this note. They believe that the note came from him as well. And what he talks about now, the only thing they've been talking about in the news is that he, he wanted to make up for the lives that he's taken or something like that. They keep focusing on that. But when you actually read the note, the manifesto or whatever they're calling it, it's not a manifesto. It's very obviously him saying, I'm being followed. They're trying to abduct me, and I might not make it out. That's what the note basically says. I probably ought to just read the whole damn thing out so people can hear it. But he is a Green Beret. So remember, they said in January, Greer said in January, a whole group of Green Berets are going to come out and they're going to start talking about what's going on with the drones, with the whole Jersey drones, all that stuff. And so I'm like, so why hasn't anybody noticed this guy's a Green Beret specifically? Why haven't they brought that out? And then here's his manifesto. It's not a manifesto. It's a note saying, hey, this is like a dead man switch because he's being followed. Okay, so I'm going to read some of this. It starts out with, in case I do not make it to my decision point or onto the Mexico border, I'm sending this now. Please do not release this until the 1st of January and keep my identity private until then. So this is, like I said, this is on Newsweek I'm reading off of here, and apparently it was shared by somebody named Sean Ryan. I'm not sure who that is, but he's some news source or whatever. And so he sent this note to Sean Ryan, obviously thinking that he's trying to escape something. So this really fits with there's a black project group that are deadly, killing people, things like that. And that Green Berets are going to come forward. This dude is a Green Beret specifically, which is I can't believe nobody's talking about this. The fact that nobody is talking about this is so weird. So in case I don't make it, my decision point in the Mexico border, please do not release this. First off, I'm not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. So that's just him pointing out that he's got information about himself that a lot of other people won't know, and then you have to dig deep to find it. And so that's a verification thing to make sure that people know it really is from him, just in case he dies or something like that. This is a note of somebody who thinks they're going to disappear or get disappeared or get suicided, which is, it's really seeming like he got suicided because, how do you shoot yourself and explode a bomb in the same car that you're in? Did you shoot yourself and then hit the bomb? Or did you hit the bomb and then shoot yourself? Did you blow yourself up and then shoot yourself? Or did you shoot yourself and then blow yourself up? Kind of weird, guys. So anyway, here he goes. Let's see. Now this, once again, I don't know that I believe that he's, yes. Oh, thank you. I'm getting love. I don't know that he knows the truth. I'm not saying what he's saying is the truth, but of course it's probably whatever this guy does believe, and that's what he starts talking about. And so what he says is what we've been seeing with the drones is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China in the East Coast, but throughout history. The U.S. Okay, I got his writing style is shit. But I'm sorry to speak ill of the dead. But anyway, he says by most recent. So basically, he's just saying that it was China that's using this gravitic technology. But historically, it's been the U.S. is what he's trying to say there. Only we in China have this capability. Our open location for this activity is in the box below. That's some sort of special 4-letter acronym. Who knows? Whoa, what's going on with my?
You got banned. The live has ended.
For what?
I don't know. Let's find out. Welcome.
What the hell? What
Live
for?
access removed. Because suicide and self-harm. So we're going to say, no, we disagree with this decision. It does not contain this content. And we are going to appeal.
Okay.
And in an hour or less, you'll get an answer.
Okay. Well, the man is trying to hold me down. I'm still broadcasting to the second camera. Okay, you're not allowed to mention, like, that's a normal, that's what he did.
Right, so you can't talk about.
Okay, they talk about that on the news all the time.
No, you need to use the word unalived.
I didn't say Mother May I forgot.
The Simon Says word.
Simon Says, I forgot. Yes, I'm not used to having to play games. I just tell the truth instead of playing games to tell the truth. And so yeah, sorry, I didn't say Mother May I and play the game and pretend. So annoying. I hate that. Yeah, should have said unalive because that is so much better.
We don't know what you're talking about when you say one thing versus the other.
Right.
It's night and day difference. Right?
Yeah, totally. A huge difference there. I'm so glad that they are protecting our virginal ears from a particular word. God, I just can't. Look, I'm sorry. I cannot stand human beings whose minds work like that, where the "I'm not touching you" works for them somehow. It's like, I'm not touching you. I'm not. That's what they're doing at all times. I can't handle it. I can't handle those kinds of people who don't want anything to do with them. But all right, I guess we'll continue on this other channel here, or should we wait until? Because this was, you know what? Maybe we should switch platforms. Switch over to the other platform to Kick or whatever, right?
No, but the whole point was to get TikTok.
Yeah, well, that's not gonna happen for a while.
Just keep doing what you're doing, and then we'll see if they, You could restart all of this all over again, or you can just keep going.
Okay, whoa, that's so right. Holy crap.
And not give a fuck about TikTok until they...
The sun has gone supernova. Ah, it's an abduction. All right, let's see. Ah, there we go. Much better. Okay, I'm talking to this camera.
Oh,
you.
Oh,
what?
I think we had a focus problem.
Oh, yes, there was a serious focus problem.
So that's why I was blurry.
I was like, why is this so blurry? God, this camera is trash.
So, I mean, we could.
It's garbage. No, that's fine.
I mean, we could.
Garbage camera. Thanks for going live. We're gonna ban you immediately.
Right.
Okay. How are we gonna do this?
Takes about 24 hours.
24 hours to review your appeal. They're not gonna appeal that. I said the banned word, but it's like, because I didn't say unalive.
Right. Maybe the context will have that.
I didn't say the magic words.
Well, either way,
it's still, it hurts me. It hurts me to know that there are humans that still work like that. It hurts me to know this. I don't want to know that they're completely okay with you saying unalive and not okay with you saying suicide. It's just that kind of thing. Oh,
if it doesn't,
it hurts my heart.
You won't be able to go live until the 21st.
Okay.
So there's no.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. All right, we'll do the rest of this right here then.
Yep.
Hey.
I think so.
No, that happened. Is it not the droids you were looking for? And I'm the flash earlier. You lost time. Okay. So I'm still gonna go ahead and do this, regardless of the fact. Like I said, I could start a Kick channel. No.
You can't.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. All right. You didn't hear any of that. Like literally.
Stopping this and starting a new channel and doing.
Yeah. I get it.
Podcasting to nobody.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
At least on TikTok, you have followers. On Kick, you have nobody, and you're not doing.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, it's fine. all good.
I'm just very upset.
I know it is. All their other completely absurd, It's, I think it's kind of funny because it's like the state that we're in, guys. We're in a state where they're just people participating in genocide, but they're gonna make sure you don't talk about a particular word. It's like it's just how do you live like that? How do you live with your brain that sliced up? I don't get it.
There you go. You can go back.
I can go back. Okay, good. So okay, we stalled long enough. Anybody's watching over here, by the way, thank you, and please forgive me for all the nonsense here. Oh, that's cool. Okay, don't allow. You don't need my additional devices. Oh, okay. Wow, it's very bright now. Okay, and we're back.
You can see. Oh, okay.
Okay, we're less purple now. They banned me for being purple, guys. Don't be purple. It's
Don't do it. Don't do it.
The man can't hold me down and keep this information from coming out. Okay, so we're back on track. What we're talking about is the fellow who had a problem with things happen. Livelsberger. Okay, the Cybertruck event. Because apparently they didn't like me talking about that. I'm not going to talk about it too much. You know what I'm talking about. You were here.
I had to do the exact same thing when I was discussing.
There were fireworks,
altering substances, and or estates and gardens,
and he by some means achieved going to the other side.
He crossed the rainbow bridge.
He crossed the rainbow bridge by some means which he initiated. I think I can say that. Trigger warning. It's like a vague things will be said, apparently, is the only way to. Here's the trigger warning. If you were triggered by vague stuff, you're going to be triggered here, because apparently they're going to cut me off if I'm explicit about what actually happened and talk like it's an actual news show. All right. So as we're talking about, Green Beret. He was, and Stephen Greer said that the Green Berets were going to come forward, and weird circumstances. So let me go ahead and read his thing. Is what we're doing. We're doing Livelsberger's supposed manifesto, and so he was saying that he's not under duress or hostile influence or control. Gives his thing where he verifies who he is. Authorities do believe, just bringing anybody up to date, authorities do believe this is really a note from him, and he is a Green Beret who is associated with UAPs, and which is what we're going to discuss here by reading this little note that he had, that it was his dead man switch. This was his, in case something happens to me, put this out. So they're using gravitic propulsion is what he says, and he says, and like I said, I'm not verifying the truth of this, and he could totally be being fed false information, but it seems extremely likely that this is what he believes. Doesn't mean it's the truth. And that is, he says, China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it's just a show of force, and they're using it similar to how they use the balloon for SIGINT and for SIGINT and ISR, which are part of the integrated comm systems. So I'm not going to go into a lot of the details that he's here, but basically he's saying that he thinks that this is advanced technology from China. I actually don't necessarily buy that personally, but I'm just reporting on what it is that he's saying. I don't know why I'm all the way up at the top of the screen there. Okay, we moved me around a little weird. All right.
Otherwise, it's too much headspace. You don't need it.
I need a little bit of headspace. Okay, my hands are in it. Okay, you want my hands in it. All right. I haven't done my nails recently, so it's not going to have the same appeal. All right. So USG needs to give the history of this, how we're employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them, and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere on the East Coast. Once again, I think this is just fear mongering. And a lot of times people who are in he did have some some theoretical mental health issues, as do a lot of our military. So nothing against him on that, but the truth of the matter is, you kind of have to be a little bit amped up to be part of war. So, I don't, like I said, I think he might be fear mongering here, but this is what he's talking about. He's talking about the drones. He's saying it's basically this gravitic, which is there's no such thing as gravitic propulsion within our normal idea of science. So he's saying this is advanced science. Basically, it is what he understands. And so now here's the thing that's big, that where most of the stuff has been verified, that he's not bullshitting, that he's actually telling the truth, and about his technology. Oh, let me go ahead and back up just one more here. So he says, I've been followed for over a week now from likely Homeland or FBI. So he thinks it's Department of Homeland Security or FBI. They're looking to move on me and are unlikely to let me cross into Mexico, but won't, because they know I am armed and have a massive VBIED. That's some sort of improvised explosive device. Okay, so he straight up says he's got an improvised explosive device when he sends this to this Ryan guy, whoever he is. Which, like I said, I think he's probably well known. Sean Ryan, it sounds familiar. You guys probably know. And he says, yeah, I have knowledge of this program, and also war crimes that were covered up during the airstrikes in Nimruz province in Afghanistan in 2019 by admin, DOD, DEA, and CIA. I conducted targeting for these strikes of over 125 buildings. 65 were struck because of CIS. Yeah, you can tell in the military he's using so many acronyms that killed hundreds of civilians in a single day. And US FORA, another acronym, continued strikes after spotting civilians on initial ISR. It was supposed to take 6 minutes and scramble all aircraft. So he just keeps on talking about the UN basically called these war crimes, but the administration made them disappear. I was part of that cover up with US FORA and agent redacted of the DEA. So I don't want to know. So I don't know if my abduction attempt is related to either. So what it sounds like, he's like relying on context there when he talks about his abduction attempt. So it sounds as though he's saying, or has continued to have, he's continuing to have conversation with Sean Ryan. Sean Ryan put out this email, but that right there tells me that there was a prior email talking about an attempted abduction, because you don't just roll into saying my attempted abduction was probably because of this. That's relying on context, which he probably had with this Sean Ryan guy. So I'm hoping he'll release more of it. But he's basically saying that he was part of the UAP program. Where was that? I'm not actually finding it right here. Oh my God, has this been changed? Oh, there it is. Okay. He was I have active PSSCI with UAP USAP access. So basically he's saying that he's related to UAPs, that he theoretically knows about it. So the fact that Greer was talking about some sort of Green Berets coming forward, this almost certainly is part of that group. Now, I said there was 2 events in Las Vegas, 2. The other one, I know nobody has heard being related to it, because there has not been a word said about this being related to UAPs or drones, because I don't think anybody knows it is. I think you're going to be hearing it first time here from any damn body, because nobody's looked it up. So because I'm in Vegas, there's this local guy who disappeared in a strange way. So they say, oh, he's this aerospace engineer. That's the first thing tipped me off to go looking into it, who disappeared while flying, and he's been gone since, what was it, the 2nd? What's his name? His name is, gotta find him here. Michael Martin, and so he is this I should probably find that page also. I mean, I had all my work on my other computer, but Michael Martin is a aerospace engineer who owns his own company in making thin films. That sounds like, well, it just sounds like some guy who works on films of stuff, right? And so it's like, what does he got to do with UAPs? Well, I dug into who Michael Martin is, and I haven't told the story properly here because what's really interesting about the fact that he disappeared, and they haven't found him since I think it was the second he disappeared. He's been gone for a long time. They're still searching for him, and I don't think they're going to find him. Period. They haven't found any wreckage, but his plane stopped sending out flight-aware data suddenly and without ever lowering its altitude, and he's been gone since like the second. So he's been gone a very long time, and their family is still looking for him. And like I said, flying suddenly, data cuts off. Now, where was he flying? He was flying up northwest, straight at Area 51, like almost directly right at it. And that's one thing. But the other thing is when you look into who he used to work for. Now he owns his own company. He's like the CEO of this company that makes these thin films or whatever. And that immediately tipped me off. It's like, wait a minute, thin films? Do you mean like metamaterials maybe? Because metamaterials are one of the things that I've got two cameras, just in case you guys are wondering why I'm glancing back and forth. Metamaterials are one of the things that generally, whenever you're talking about any kind of invisibility cloak or anything like that, it's all about engineering these thin film sorts of things, and that's how you make invisibility cloaks or any real technology that basically bends light around stuff so that it can be kind of invisible or what have you. So that tipped me off. I started looking into it, and my intuition was right. The prior company that he worked for, when you go on his LinkedIn, is General Atomics. And they are a DoD, an American. Here, what GPT has told me here about General Atomics is General Atomics is an American aerospace and defense company that is involved in a variety of fields, including nuclear technology, aerospace systems, and advanced defense projects. They are particularly known for their work on unmanned aircraft systems, electromagnetic systems, and other advanced technologies, including low observable or stealth technology. Well, when you go and look on what it was that he did for them, he was working on low observables. So in other words, he was working on stealth technology, this guy who just suddenly vanished midair. And nobody is talking about the fact that they just keep calling him an aerospace engineer and just a random guy who just happened to disappear in midair. So yeah, it refers to low observable refers to technologies designed to make an object, typically a vehicle or aircraft, less detectable by radar, infrared, or other detection methods. So the fact that he was working at General Atomics and disappeared midair is awfully strange. Now, where they continued to find some of his, so the flight aware data is something you can technically turn off. In other words, it's what keeps you in contact with all the safety systems of flight. You're never supposed to just manually turn it off or anything like that. But theoretically, you can. And I think I've heard before that whenever you get caught by Area 51, they may tell you to turn your shit off and direct you to a certain place to land. Looking at his flight path, the last time he was seen midair, he turns off his stuff in Indian Springs. Now, Indian Springs is not a place that is restricted airspace. So when he turned it off, he was either attempting to I'm assuming he turned it off. He could have just been plucked out of midair by aliens. I don't know. But let's go ahead and pick the less fun of the two. Or should we? We'll discuss both. We'll discuss both. And I hope he's all right, because it's not fun if he's not. But theoretically, he's just supposedly gone. So they haven't found any wrecked. And I don't think this guy's dead at all. I think he's just somewhere else. He's
2 feet of snow on top of a mountain peak is not going to hide a crash.
Yeah, exactly. It's only 2 feet of snow. I mean, they've got great visibility. They've been searching for. Yeah, no, it's like been over like a week and a half now, or more.
It was January 2nd.
Yeah, I think it was January 2nd. I don't know. I can't remember. It's somewhere like first of the year, just after the Cybertruck guy. So yeah, you got two things here in Vegas, which Vegas being right next to Area 51. There's a reason why a lot of stuff is connected with Vegas. Basically, there's this what's the name of the airline? There's a specific airline that is unmarked that flies out of Vegas that goes straight to Area 51. It's kind of like they're completely unmarked. You go and try to. There's people who have tried to go to this wing of our airport, and you get in trouble quite quickly. They tell you it's private property. You've got no business there, but it's a bunch of commercial jets, zero markings. They have a name for it. I forget what it's called, but a lot of people don't know that part of our airport is dedicated to taking people who live in Vegas out to Area 51 to work on their secret projects and stuff like that. Because they still do secret projects, even though they removed most of the crash retrieval stuff long ago. After people started, really knowing that it was a place. Theoretically, all the crash retrieval materials were moved to the what's the base that had to shut down from the drones in their airspace? No, not Nellis. Nellis is the one nearby. I'm talking about there was one because of the Jersey drones. Langley was the one that had constant drones over it, and then there was another one that it's really, man, it's where our space center is. No, it's how have I not found this? Hold on, let me ask ChatGPT. What air base is our space command HQ? There we go. It's no, it's not Peterson. There's another one. It's Space Info. No, Space Intelligence. Space Intelligence. Well, that's another one. Whatever. There's another base that was recently their airspace was shut down for a few hours because of all of the drones. And here's the thing. Let me just clarify. This thing about drones versus not drones. It's like, yeah, there are lots of things. There's tons of stuff in our air that's being misidentified. Wright-Patterson, that's it. Yes, Wright-Patterson Air Base. So Wright-Patterson.
With GPT sucks and just straight up Google search it.
Yeah, I know, that's so funny. So Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, they had to shut down the airspace for a few hours because of the drones and things like that. And that is the center of our Space Intelligence Command or something to that effect. But that's where a lot of the crash materials and all that have been moved. And then right after the first report from Arrow, which was a purposeful nothing burger. In other words, when Arrow was first formed, people thought that Arrow was going to be for the people. There was going to be the truth was going to come out. But then the head of Arrow was himself a spook, and he cooperated with the with the black government probably, and is what it seems like. Actually, at first was let's go back to that story a little bit, by the way. So Kirkpatrick, he was the head of Arrow. And so about 9 months in, they basically had to give a report that theoretically nothing happened. Then all the intelligence agencies have a first ever meeting at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which is the Space Intelligence Command Center, and also where the UFOs are probably at. And so it was literally the next day. So a lot of people don't know about this combination of interesting events and how they ended up happening. So what was I telling you that for? Specifically, the fact that it's the place where all this shit is going down is very interesting. But there was a reason I was gonna go into that more. Who was it that was you were telling something to be quiet there? I have my assistant here with me. Lovely assistant. I have no idea. Okay. I don't even know. I was just. I don't remember what I was asking. It's okay. So Wright-Patterson. Do you know what you looked it up? Do you know what their what's it called? Space Intelligence Command. It's where they've usually moved everything.
Do you mean more information about Wright-Patterson?
Yeah.
It's
She's gonna look things up for me. This is great. I love this.
Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton, Ohio. Yeah.
So we're looking for Department of Defense as the owner.
Yeah, and then what's it called? It has something to do with space intelligence, I think is what they call it. Space, it's basically where all the information about space goes. In other words, all military information
The host unit
about.
of Wright-Patterson AFB is the 88th Air Base Wing assigned to the Air Force Life Cycle Management Center and Air Force Material Command. The 88 ABW operates the airfield, maintains all infrastructure, provides security. Oh, here we go. The Air Force's National Air Intelligence Center and
National Air Intelligence and
National Space Intelligence Center also garrisoned there and are the intelligence.
So it's the Space Force's Intelligence Center. So it's basically everything that's
Air Force and Space Force.
Air Force and Space Force. Everything about that is supposed to be going to Wright-Patterson, which got shut down by drones.
It's, the intelligence community's primary organization for strategic air and space threat analysis.
And it was okay. So I was talking about Kirkpatrick. Strategic what?
Space threat analysis.
Strategic space threat analysis. That's what Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is. So the first meeting of where Kirkpatrick says Arrow's was charged with finding out what all these UAPs are, and the government. This is the first time the government got together. We funded the standing up this whole AARO and sent them to go do their work, and they come back with. They basically watching his first report, the people are like, so basically you've gotten nothing done. He literally said, oh, we've analyzed 2 or 3 out of the hundreds, and there's like the number of them was just going up and up and up, the number of ones. It's like we've eliminated all these that were obvious garbage, and we've got like these 400 that we haven't done any analysis on, but we have done a full analysis on 2. I think it was literally he said like a few was the word that he gave them in his first report. So and then the next day, first ever meeting of all the heads of intelligence at Space Force Command, and right after the Arrow non-report of the first time. So it was obviously some bullshit. So Sean Kirkpatrick then shortly thereafter, after this basically he's charged with doing something, makes no progress on it, and he makes some excuses about funding or about what was it called, where they trying to get access. He makes various excuses why they made no progress, and then shortly thereafter he quits. And then when he quits, one of the things he says on like Twitter is that that either it's aliens or it's it's for a foreign adversary that has intelligence way beyond. I don't know what the exact quote is. I bet I can find it real quick. See if you can help me find the Twitter quote from Sean Kirkpatrick, because
you go on mobile, you go to his Twitter account and use that little search feature.
Okay, did Sean
Kirkpatrick
said something. Do what?
What word are we looking for? You may not have a
UFO, alien intelligence. I don't know. It's like we're looking for a quote from him where he talks about it. So that's why I'm asking ChatGPT to look it up, see if you can find it. Shepard said something about about the UAPs being either a foreign adversary or something. A backyard. That backyard's in our backyard. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. For an adversary or something alien operating in our backyard. See, the funny thing is, what I'm talking about Sean Kirkpatrick is because of the fact that at first he seemed like an ally to UAP people. In other words, like he initially seemed like he was on our side, like he wanted disclosure. He was going to tell us what was going on. And that abruptly ended and changed after this quote. And I'm going to find real quick. But because the other thing is he worked with Avi Loeb, the guy who did the whole thing with Oumuamua, and he's the Harvard professor that noticed that there was an interstellar object that was accelerating away from the sun without any outgassing. and all of the excuses they've tried to make about that are just silly at this point. But let's see. Yeah, she was director of All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. We potentially, let's see. Give me the exact quote. See if we can find it. No, that's not it. There's a quote. He said something. Said something about operating in our backyard. That was the quote, I'm pretty sure. All right, so let's see if in ChatGPT can find it using backyard as a keyword.
The director of the U.S. government's UFO analysis evidence says there's evidence of concerning unidentified flying object activity in our backyard. Physicist Sean Kirkpatrick, who heads the congressionally mandated All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, told Politico that this UFO activity can be attributed to one of two extraordinary sources, either a foreign power or aliens.
Yeah, it's either there's something.
The best thing that could come out of this job is to prove that there are aliens in Kirkpatrick. If we don't prove it's aliens, then what we're finding evidence of other people's doing stuff in our backyard, and that's not good.
Yeah. If it's not aliens,
If we
it's
don't
other.
prove it's aliens,
If you don't prove it's aliens,
what we're finding is evidence of other people doing stuff in our backyard.
yeah, we're finding evidence of people doing stuff in our backyard, and it was just after he was talking about it being very advanced. So basically, he right away he says this thing about it's either aliens or it's somebody, it's a foreign adversary doing stuff in our backyard. We don't know what it is, and it is advanced. Is the gist of his quote right after he leaves office. Then shortly after that, he goes on a whirlwind tour, just mocking basically any stance that accepts the possibility that it may be non-human intelligence. So that sounds like to me that he was told he needed to play ball after this final quote. So he quit. I think he quit because he was told he couldn't give information. And then he basically probably had his life threatened, because that's something that keeps coming up in these congressional hearings, is that people are having their lives threatened. And so I bet Kirkpatrick had his life threatened right after he, basically says, "Hey, there's some crazy stuff happening, and it's either aliens or it's a foreign adversary with superior technology. It has to be one of those two." In other words, he didn't say, or it's just nothing, or it's just sunspots and swamp gas in a swamp gas bouncing off the moon or whatever. So he made it very clear something real is happening, and it's either a foreign adversary or it's aliens, because it's sure as hell not us, was the idea. And then right after that, he's like, "Oh yeah, no, that's definitely we found no evidence of anything. We found no evidence of nothing." And like just everywhere he goes, he's totally advocating for the idea that it's nothing at all, and it's all just not nonsense. And so he kind of had a 180 there. So anyway, going back to this, theoretically, I don't know if you guys have heard that Trump, love him or hate him, he says that the day one of the of his inauguration, whenever he enters office, day one, he's going to tell us what's going on with the drones, and he's going to basically give us all the info, because he thinks that's being hidden from everyone. And so I can't wait to see what happens there, because that's it's obvious that they're just not telling us what's going on. And the fact that this thing with the Green Berets, and I can't believe that Greer hasn't commented about the fact that this guy who's a Green Beret, who says he's part of UAPs, and is telling people, "Hey, I'm on the run because I've got too much information, and they're probably gonna kill me, and if they kill me, put this letter out." And he died after giving someone a letter that says, "In case I don't make it, because I have a an explosive device that is what's protecting me. So I'm using this explosive device to protect myself from the people who are pursuing me as I'm trying to get to Mexico. That's what's in his letter. And then we're supposed to believe he then ended it all in a way that doesn't make much sense, because it's, did he make himself go out in a violent way? In one way or the other, because they both seem to.
Did he ignite fireworks?
Did he ignite fireworks, or did he?
First? Or did
Did he make the explosion go off first,
Or did he make the smaller?
or did he make the very smaller?
Explosion go first?
Yes, smaller explosion and projectile thing. How do I?
Like they say he did.
Like they say he did, right? Which one of those happened first?
Yeah, the official.
Doesn't make sense. But what does make sense is that they have confirmed that this letter was from him, and they have confirmed that that he is who he says he was, which is a Green Beret, and the fact that he was on the run from the law. I don't know. Take your own conclusions from it. If you're not coming to the same conclusion as me, I don't know why, but it seems pretty obvious to me. Some shenanigans going on there. So, going back to the whole idea with this guy who disappeared. What's his name again? Michael Martin. So Michael Martin, he's still missing. I think that he's been like called in by the government. Well, he's either because he's worked on alien technology. In other words, like when he was working for General Atomics, they're the kind of company that would have crashed materials and things like that. And that's how would you continue to develop stealth technology and invisibility cloaks and things like that with metamaterials. I mean, and that's the thing. Metamaterials, thin, especially engineered materials, that is at the cutting edge of UAP, UFO technology. Everybody agrees that that's the way in which it's not just for cloaking, it's also for like how it supposedly interacts with the vacuum, and that's the part of how their propulsion system works is by using this like thin skin of interaction with the vacuum that instead of like normally, I don't know if you've ever seen these things where they have like a warp bubble is the whole idea. It's like, well, to make a warp bubble you'd have to like consume a star, the amount of information that you'd have to, or not, energy that you'd have to consume is just this huge amount of energy. But what if instead of, having to make this huge bubble or the size of a vehicle, instead, all you did is make something at the quantum scale. And that's what they're saying is probably going on with these metamaterials, is at the quantum scale, you make this tiny, tiny, tiny little, discontinuity with space. Instead of a giant bubble, it's quantum scale. It's super, super miniature. And then so long as the material is uniform and perfectly uniform, that can do that little discontinuity, then you just keep spreading it out. So you make the skin all the way around a craft that is, instead of a warp bubble, it's like a warp skin, kind of is the idea. So that's the whole. So it could be that he was just working on stealth technology and they called him in to deal with this whole drone issue. That's the mundane one. But he worked with General Atomics, and they are like, all the stuff, all the advanced technology. I believe there's a very good chance he might have actually been one of the people who might have worked on UFOs and crash materials. And if he was, then maybe he just got yoinked out of midair. It could be that he got, the alien said, okay, enough of your funny business, buddy. Now we see you're flying around. The kitty son wants in on this. Now that we see you're flying around, we're gonna have a chat about your working on our materials. So it can go either way. Oh, kitty. Okay, I have a kitty now. All right, buddy. You gonna behave yourself? Say hello to the audience. So yeah, that's a part of the story that nobody is talking about really weird that nobody's talking about it.
Somebody sent you a rose.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you. I don't know anything about this app. Sorry if I'm not acknowledging
Here's how to
people
chat.
properly.
Here, let me give you chat.
I'm very new to this live thing. Oh, yes. There are many people who say they joined. And there was a liked. That's good. That's nice.
There we go.
And sent a rose. Thank you, Caden. I appreciate that. That's awesome. How do I get the screen back?
No, just keep it there.
Swipe left. Oh, just all I get is, well, then I can't see myself. But I guess I could. Maybe I don't need to see myself. I don't need to see myself.
I have the same.
Going back and forth. All right. So yeah, it's really weird. You know, and like I said, you can look up Michael Martin right now and you'll find that, you know, they're still searching for him. There's these they've got like 40 people out there and they're searching all over the mountain. Not the slightest sign that he crashed. Oh, and by the way, so he disappears at Indian Springs, and then so like how do I do this? Okay, so like say this is Vegas. The Indian Springs is like right here, and then Area 51 is like right here, and then theoretically his phone and iPad pinged another place like right up here. So it's all straight in a line. And his phone and iPad, like they said they got a ping from this area, and that's why they're searching in this area up here instead of where he actually disappeared off of radar and all of that sort of thing. I mean, they didn't specifically say that he disappeared off radar, but they didn't not say that. They said that his flight aware data and disappeared, and even like everybody's saying he disappeared midair. His family's talking about he disappeared midair. That's one of the quotes from his family that are worried about him. But I don't think they actually have to be worried about him personally, because there's just no indication that he crashed. There's no reason for him to crash, but there is reason for the fact that he has worked with stealth technology, with metamaterials, that he may be one of the world's, you know, foremost experts on metamaterials. He could be like the go-to guy who was just like, you know, I'm going to go, you know, make money with my own knowledge that I learned. I'm going to start my own business, or I don't know. He's the CEO. He might, I don't know if he's part owner or whatever in this other company that he currently theoretically works for. And so, yeah, I don't know, you know, how far I could go into the speculation there, but, you know, it may be that he was an expert and then he was taken back in. Military said, nope, you're coming with us. You know, this is your instructions. You know, we're bringing you back to the program. We've got new technology. We need to reverse engineer. Could be that something like that is kind of what I'm leaning towards. But yeah, there's just so many things going on that they're not talking about with, has anyone heard from Greer about this guy who's a Green Beret who came out in January, just like he said there was going to be a whole group? Theoretically, Greer's group is supposed to be coming out like any day now. Like he said, middle of January, middle to late January, I think was what his quote was. So maybe he meant that the Green Berets will come out like right after the presidency changes hands. Maybe that's what the theoretical thing was, but then maybe because of him talking about the Green Berets coming out, that put heat on them, and that's how this Livelsberger guy ended up on the run. But yeah, it's mind-blowing that nobody's bringing this up, that Greer said it'd be UAP guys who are Green Berets. It's so obvious. So I don't know why nobody's reporting on this. It's weird. What do you guys think? Seriously though, if you can like comment on it and stuff, I would appreciate some more info. Has anybody else got any information on this? Has anybody else found out more? This is what I've been able to uncover, and it's, I don't know, it's getting interesting, guys. It's getting really interesting. There's the number of videos. That's the other thing that's really weird. If you guys noticed how much, when you look, you know, for yourself at how many videos are continuing to be produced of drones. Now, people have gotten better about not just showing, you know, planes. Some of them I'm like, oh, why do you keep showing that obvious airplane? And it's like, it seems so purposeful. Like if you notice that whenever you're watching TV and they start talking about the drones or whatever, it's like the people who are running the station are purposely trying to make people look stupid. because they keep showing videos of what are obviously airplanes. It's like that is so obviously an airplane, so obvious, and that's the one they pick the most. They love showing that freaking airplane. It's like, do you not live in a city? Have you never seen an airplane from the underside? Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's Rupert Murdoch. I don't know, whatever. The big guys, they always are. Yeah, like people have shown these compilations. Have you guys seen those compilations where they all are like 15 to 20 different newscasters all say exactly the same sentence, and they have them all like say it simultaneously. That I've seen a number of those compilations. So yeah, the fact that they keep using these things where it's just that's so obviously not anomalous, and then they keep showing things that are obviously drones instead of showing the orbs. And like there's a couple of videos that are so obviously here's the orb, here's the drone, and that's one of my favorite ones. The drone goes up to the orb and gets its ass kicked. It's first it's like going around it, and then he goes, I'm gonna go in close. That was just the best. So there's tons of these ones that are genuinely anomalous, obviously, and not drones. They're some sort of other luminous phenomenon. But then there's probably also something going on with actual drones as well. There's definitely something going on with actual drones. There's a lot more of them in the air for sure. And now nobody's reporting on it at all whatsoever. And why hasn't Greer said anything about this guy? When you look into Stephen Greer, he apparently has actually like briefed presidents and like he's been somehow, I don't know, that's what I don't get. He's supposed to be just a trauma doctor, right? How is he so capable of contacting these government officials and things like that? And he's involved at certain points that you think that he wouldn't be involved, and not involved in places that you'd think he would be. Like, for instance, with all these various hearings that have just been recently going on, Greer's not present. He's not connected to any of the guys who have come forward, like Lou Elizondo, and a matter of fact, Elizondo and a few of the others, they have like major beef. I think there's major beef between Elizondo and Greer specifically. And so that's why this whole situation with Greer, with Stephen Greer, and being like both loved and hated, and there's kind of this schism. That just seems like somebody is messing with the community purposefully, creating this division, is what it looks like to me. There's definitely a lot of weird division there, and I don't know if I buy all of Greer's story. So Greer's story, I don't know if you hear it. So there's like this Project Blue Beam. It's been around forever. The idea is, have I told you about this, babe? So the idea is there's this supposed like false there's this supposed false flag thing that where that it was talked about by Werner von Braun, where he said that on his deathbed that what we're going to do is we're going to fake an alien invasion and gain a bunch of control that way. That's supposed the thing. And then there's this program called Project Blue Beam that people talk about where we're gonna, nope, Blue Beam. I don't know. The Blue Book is the investigation. Blue Beam is a different one. I don't know. It's weird.
Investigation into what?
Blue Book, that was an investigation into UFOs.
Right.
Yeah, that was the official program to theoretically debunk them. And
Maybe little blue guys or something.
yeah, no, actually, one of the guys who was part of Blue Book became who was cited as totally debunking UFOs. Spent the rest of his life
Debunking that.
debunking the debunking. I forget what his name is. I think he recently passed away. Shoot, what was his name? I have to look that up. Okay, it doesn't. You're right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But shoot, what was I saying?
Project Blue Beam.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. So Greer, Stephen Greer says that this whole Blue Beam sort of thing is supposed to be what's going to happen. In other words, like they're going to try to take control by faking an alien invasion. And yeah, that's what Greer was talking about. And I think, did Elizondo say that as well? I don't think he did. I think it's entirely so. In other words, there's this idea that there's this shadow cabal kind of thing. I don't know. That sounds like it kind of sounds like bullshit to me. It seems like that's not really um, it's not realistic in a certain way. I mean, supposedly there's like, oh, we've created this special aircraft. I forget what it's called. That's like a hybrid aircraft that is that's a like a UFO, like the triangles. Theoretically, the triangles are supposedly us. Yeah. No, not just the stealth fighters, but actually like the TR or something. I don't know. Supposedly a hybrid of our technology and alien technology. Yeah, it's just, they've got this. There's a whole lot of lore out there, man. There's a
Well, is that official lore or is that
well, it's just
just
lore.
people
It's
people- yeah,
yeah,
trying to figure it out?
TR3B. I actually, for some reason, remember the name of it. And I think I did. I don't know. Might don't quote me on that. Yeah, and so supposedly that we've got this stuff that we've reverse engineered, that we've created something from it, and that a lot of this stuff was all talked about on the X Files too, where it's like we're like there are actually aliens and they're like a tiny minority of it, and then there's humans who are pretending to be aliens, and that's actually kind of Greer's story. So it's just like, I don't know, man. Did you watch too much X Files? And they're just like feeding you this information. Like some people are feeding it to you, and then because it's popular, a lot of people like the story because they watched X Files, and so then Greer makes a lot of money from that, and so he's getting rewarded for it. And like I said, I don't think he's purposefully deceptive at all. Actually, I don't. I really don't. I really believe that he believes this stuff. I just don't believe it. I don't think he's got significant enough evidence to believe that that's what's happening. But there's always a little signal in the noise. In other words, there's always a little bit of that's the way that's how you do disinformation, is you always mix truth and falsehood. And so I think that he may be part of kind of like a disinformation thing where people aren't going to believe him, but maybe these green berets or whatever are actually involved in something. That like it seems like they're involved in something. It's like this, apparently this Livelsberger guy who comes out and says he's involved with UAPs and the UAP program or whatever. And what was that he said specifically? It was, yeah, I have an active TSSCI with UAP USAP access. So I don't know. And this disappearance of this guy from Vegas, right after that seems like huge news, and nobody is pointing it out.
It's also crazy that he's specifically cloaking technology guy.
Yeah, he's specifically cloaking technology. Okay, the company that he worked for specializes in drones. It's one of their specialties. Is what ChatGPT says. General Atomics. Oh yeah, their specialty is drones. or what did it specifically say?
Unmanned, autonomous.
Excuse me. Yeah, unmanned aerial UAS, unmanned aircraft systems is they're particularly known for their work in unmanned aerial systems.
So being able to pilot drones from a distance.
So yeah, drones. Basically, their technology is General Atomics is they're apparently particularly known for that, but have their fingers in like a bunch of other advanced physics. Right. And so, and then this guy, he works on thin films.
What do you mean this guy? It's not the same guy?
Yeah, the guy who disappeared.
Right.
Right. And so he worked on thin films for General Atomics.
Doesn't he own?
And yeah, he owns a thin film company. And then specifically in his resume, which you can find on LinkedIn, he worked in low observables, which is stealth tech. So he worked on stealth tech specifically. That's just, you can find it on LinkedIn. And so he worked on stealth tech, and then he disappears midair right after this guy, with the Livelsberger in the Vegas hotel. So two Vegas events in rapid succession. Was there contact between these guys? Did one guy contact? Because that's the thing. There's a lot of, like, I don't know if people know that one of the companies that supposedly had materials was shoot, they've got their Bigelow right down the street from our house. There's like a Bigelow, like thing. And well, there's a bunch of different Bigelow things all throughout Vegas. But anyway, so like Bigelow Aerospace, they're one of the ones that supposedly had the first crash materials given to them. This goes way back with some of the first things coming out about this whole program with Elizondo and To the Stars Academy and that whole program. It's Bigelow Aerospace. And so they're in Vegas. There's, all this stuff is actually kind of, centered in Vegas. And so, yeah, of course he'd come to Vegas if he's involved with the UAPs and, and all that sort of stuff. And it's just, was there contact? Is that why this Michael Martin disappeared or got disappeared, as the case may be? I don't know. It's just weird that nobody's talking about this. And so I think with that's a good start. Since you seem to be ready to go elsewhere, I think that's it. Yeah, all right. I think that's a just started getting a couple of viewers. But yeah, hey, if you go to my channel, the Etherpunk Project on YouTube, please subscribe, check out some of the videos I got there. It's the thing is, I use entertainment and basically what we're doing is we're creating a game that is that kind of has this mixed reality. In other words, have fun with speculation sort of thing. And so that's what the Etherpunk Project's about, is creating a role-playing game that where you can just let your freak flag fly and talk about all the crazy stuff in a more serious fashion for your game and stuff like that. But at the same time, hey, I'm telling you what I actually believe here. That's I am a very, very much open to the idea that there may be non-human intelligence, given the fact that there's all these people who are saying there is, that we've got bodies, we've got crashed materials, we've got all these people testifying before Congress, all these whistleblowers coming forward, and then with the weird drone thing, yeah, I thought from the moment I started hearing there's tons of drones, I'm like, yeah, I bet there are just drones, and then that's covering up how there's actually UAPs. Like I don't think when Langley Air Force Base was swarmed for like 2 weeks, I don't think it was just drones. I think there was more going on there. Just like all of the other bases all across the world. And if anybody tells you that it's only happening in the U.S., they're just ignorant. It's happening all over the world like crazy. Matter of fact, one of my favorite UFO hotspots is in where is it? Hesdalen. Yes, that's right. Thank you. So you keeping up with the names for me. I appreciate it. Yep, Hesdalen. Is it Norway? Is that right? Yeah. So like the Hesdalen lights, that's it's been a hotspot, but probably the most scientifically studied UFO phenomenon in the world, because it's so like common there. They've actually been able to do some level of scientific study of it. So yeah, there's definitely something going on all the way back to the Foo Fighters during World War II. They just keep talking about things to distract us from the fact that it's impossible for this phenomena to just be explained away. There's too much of it. Like, I don't know if you know, but the Foo Fighters, I'm not talking about the band. The band named themselves after the Foo Fighters because both sides, enemies in the war, thought that the other side had special technology. And you find this in like the Axis papers and stuff like that. Why is it asking me to send notifications right now? Don't allow. No, never any notifications. Never let anything notify you. But in World War II, there was both sides have all these written papers about these orbs that were following the aircraft and highly outperformed them. And there's too many things that are so obvious to say that this is like, oh, it's just drones. It's like, come on. Anyway, so yeah, have fun with it, guys. Keep searching for the truth. Keep looking for the rare information. Hopefully, you enjoyed the fact that I was able to uncover something that nobody's talking about. Greer connected to Green Berets and UAPs. Said it was going to happen in January. Dude said he was on the run, and and the only thing he gives people is like, yeah, it's all about these black budget programs and war crimes and UAPs and unmanned aerial systems and gravitics or whatever. And then from the same city, in like a day or two, a guy disappears midair, and nobody tells you that he's related to advanced technology. Nobody's saying that. Nobody anywhere. I'm the first. You will not find this anywhere. Nobody has said it but me. And it's just so weird because, like, as soon as they say aerospace engineer from Vegas, you got to be like, oh, aerospace engineer in Vegas. Well, obviously he's involved in Area 51 and all that sort of thing, right? And why hasn't anybody put this together? Why isn't anybody reporting on it? Why am I the first one? It doesn't make any sense. This has been going on for a long time. Anyhow, hope you enjoyed the that fresh info, special news report. And please check out my other videos and help me out. Like them and stuff, or subscribe, or whatever it is you do on this platform or that platform or what have you. I appreciate you guys. And thanks for joining me and saying hello. And now how do I end the actual thing here? Oops.
Let me show you.
There we go.
I think you have to tap on it, and then
Tap
there's
on-
going to be
Okay.
on and off symbol on the right.
Oh, I see a power button up here. Is that how we do it? Okay. Thanks, guys. And live. Yes. And then I got to end it over here as well. That's your report from J. Rod Svarlson. Be safe out there.